Hi, Norman.
Hi, Mr. Swain.
What are you up to?
Nothing special, just going for a walk.
Is it a bit chilly for evening walks?
It feels good as long as you keep moving.
Come on in.
What's tomorrow's headlines?
Well, that's a decision that I have to make. Of course, the temperature did go up a few degrees. That's one possibility. And Mrs. Phillips' prize Siamese cat had kittens.
I think that's exactly what you like about Peyton Place.
Well, I always thought that you liked it, too. That's why I was a bit surprised the other night at your behavior.
You mean the night the bookworm turned? Well, maybe I felt it was time I surprised someone.
So you decided to strike a blow at conformity?
Yeah, I guess that's about it.
There was nothing wrong with that in theory.
Well, society needs shaking up. It might despise its rebels now, but where would it get without them?
Nowhere, Norman. That is, if they are the genuine article. But just because a cat decides to have her kittens in an oven does not make them biscuits.
What are you trying to say?
Honest rebellion is something more than growing a beard, smoking a pipe, giving up bathing, and writing folk songs that a certain writer said are above the pitch, out of tune, and off the hinges.
I gather you don't dig those guys.
They're not contributing.
Well, they're not contributing now. But, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Swain. I can't buy everything you're saying. I mean, didn't you ever want to grow a beard?
Well, you have me there. I once did grow one.
And wrote folk songs?
I wrote some blank verse.
You see?
Yes, I see. Someday they'll shave off their beards and break up their guitars and turn out to be as stuffy as I am.
I didn't say that, Mr. Swain.
I bet you wanted to.
Connie, come in.
Elliot?
There's something happened?
No, I was just home all alone, and suddenly I couldn't stand it. Do you mind?
Why don't you take off your coat? Here, let me help you. Can I fix you something, okay?
Mind it, please.
Connie, I'm going away.
Because of me?
Yes. I can't even think of a future with you and Allison. If I stay, I've got nothing. If I go, at least I'm not complicating your lives.
Haven't we complicated yours? You could have cleared yourself.
Well, that was my decision.
When will you go?
As soon as I can. Hello. Oh, hello, Julie. No, he isn't here. Well, if you're that worried, I'll go out and look for him. No, of course not. Don't be silly. Of course, as soon as I know anything. Bye.
Look for whom?
George Anderson. He hasn't been home.
It's not that late.
She expected him long ago.
Well, is there anything I can do?
I think she'd probably be glad for your company. Betty had to go back to the hospital.
Of course. She shouldn't be alone. I'll go right over. Elliot? We should talk.
I know.
Soon?
Soon.
Want another?
No, thanks.
Maybe you had a switch.
No.
Well, at least put something in the ginger ale.
No, I've been thinking about that, but I've put Julie through enough.
Have you?
You darn tootin' I have.
That's an expression I haven't heard in years.
You darn tootin' you haven't. Well, I better get home.
To Julie?
To Julie. Look, Henry, why did you wait for me?
Wait for you.
The mill.
Well, I wanted to talk with you. You see, I too had been to the mill to talk to our mutual friend, Leslie Harrington.
Our mutual friend?
Actually, George, do you mind if I call you George? You see, actually, we're kind of a group. We're sort of a unit, all linked together with Leslie Harrington.
You and I are a group.
I think we should include Elliot Carson. You and he have a lot in common.
That's right.
Yeah, the war.
The war.
I remembered that. There was quite a ceremony. I believe you both won medals.
We both won medals, that's right. So what?
So you have that in common. For one thing. Ada, that wasn't all you have in common. Is it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I suppose you wouldn't. Ada, I'd like one more beer, please. So you remember my sister Elizabeth, don't you?
Of course I remember your sister.
Now, what's this got to do with her?
With Ada?
Your sister.
Well, it took Elliot Carson some time to figure out, too. It's called the Harrington Charm.
The Harrington Charm?
That's right, George.
I don't believe it.
You think I like to believe it? Ada, would you mind telling George the truth?
About what?
My sister and Leslie Harrington.
Oh, I wish I knew what you were driving at.
George, my sister kept a diary.
So what?
Did your wife keep a diary? Did she ever? Have you ever looked for one?
I've had enough, son.
Don't get angry with me, George. I'm trying to clear things up, shed a little light. You ought to listen to me. You really should listen to me, George. All right. Now, George, did they convince you that this whole thing was some sort of delusion? Did they really convince you, or didn't you know all along that you were right? That Leslie Harrington was very interested in your wife. You want to hit me, George? George, your wife wasn't the first woman Harrington chased after. I don't even think my sister was. Leslie Harrington's been getting away with this for years. What'll you have, George?
Miriam said George had been there. Why should he go to see Leslie? I can only guess. But he was right. George is much more upset than he let us believe. Oh, Julie. I'll be all right. Julie, do you think you might be making too much of this? Marion told me that George was shouting so loudly she could hear him right through the walls. It's hopeless, Connie. George is just George. He's never going to change. It's taken a lot of courage, Julie. I've told myself that, too. The trouble is, it didn't take nearly as much courage as facing the truth. Hello.
Hello, Julie.
Oh, Elliot. Elliot, have you found him?
He's been here.
Here?
Ada Jack's place, but he left before I got here.
Well, was he alone?
No, he's with Paul Hanley.
Well, he hardly... Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Where's he going? Did he say anything about coming home?
Well, he didn't give Ada that impression.
Well, then where?
Look, Julie, I think we're wasting time talking about it. That's not going to find him for us.
George went to see Leslie this afternoon. They had an argument. You don't think...
Look, Julie, I'll be in touch with you. Goodbye. Are you sure you have no idea where they're going?
Elliot, if you've got any sense, stay out of it.
You do know. The Harrington place?
Is that your worry? What do you owe Harrington? When are you ever going to learn?
Hello. This is Elliot Carson.
Carson, what do you want?
Don't talk, just listen.
Now, see here, Carson.
For your own sake, listen. I think George Anderson is on his way up to see you.
What makes you think he's coming here?
He's been drinking with Paul Hanley.
Hanley?
George is in a dangerous mood. Whatever you do, don't say anything to antagonize him.
What's he doing with Hanley?
Try to keep him talking until I get there.
Carson, what's this all about?
You ought to know what it's all about.
Elliot, don't go up there. Stay out of this.
I can't.
You never had any sense. You never had any.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
Connie, what am I going to do? Let go of me.
George, don't you realize who killed my sister? I found out, George. Now, come on, think about it.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Emergency service. There's been a shooting at the Harrington house. The ambulance is waiting for you.
Notify the blood bank. Have the inhalation squad standing by.